Let's talk about the machine in your house that you probably never think about until it breaks. Your HVAC system. Look, I get it. It can seem super intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. We're going to break it all down and demystify the thing that keeps you comfortable all year long.
You know that nightmare scenario, right? Picture this. It's the coldest night of the year or the most sweltering day of summer, and suddenly, silence. The air just starts to feel wrong. That's where our story begins. Not with a routine checkup, but with a full-blown, unscheduled crisis.
So let's dive right into that moment. The moment your system goes from being your best friend to your biggest source of stress.
And we really have to stress this. When your heat dies in the dead of winter or your AC gives out during a brutal heat wave, this isn't just uncomfortable. It can get downright dangerous, fast. This is really about the safety of your home and family.
But why do these systems seem to fail at the worst possible time? Well, it turns out your HVAC unit is in a constant, year-round battle with the world right outside your window.
Think of it like your system is fighting a war on two fronts. In the winter, you've got freezing temperatures forcing your furnace to work overtime, day in and day out. That constant freeze-thaw cycle just hammers the outdoor equipment. Then, just when it gets a break, summer hits. The heat and, maybe even worse, the humidity force your air conditioner to run non-stop. That constant operation ages the most critical parts, like the compressor, which is basically the heart of your AC unit, so much faster.
And as if the climate wasn't enough of a challenge, your house itself brings its own set of problems to the table. You might live in a beautiful old Victorian with an ancient, inefficient system. Or maybe you've got leaky, undersized ductwork hidden in the walls, just bleeding expensive conditioned air. Even where you live matters. Being near a highway can clog up your filters with grime, and living near a river means your system constantly has to fight extra humidity.
So your system is under this constant assault. How do you know when it's about to tap out? Well, here's the good news. It usually sends out distress signals first. The key is learning how to read them.
And you've probably noticed some of these before, right? Maybe you've seen actual ice building up on your outdoor unit. Or the system makes weird clanking noises. Or it just turns on and off all day long. These aren't just random quirks. They are very specific symptoms pointing to real problems.
So what are these signals actually trying to tell you? Let's break down a couple of the most common and most misunderstood ones. Okay, if you see your AC coils are frozen solid, that is a major red flag. It usually points to one of two things. Either the airflow is blocked, which could be as simple as a really dirty filter, or your refrigerant is low. And you need to know, low refrigerant almost always means there's a leak. You can't just top it off. You have to find and fix the leak.
And what about this thing called short cycling? That's when your furnace or AC kicks on for just a few minutes, then shuts off, then kicks on again. It's not completing a full, steady cycle. This is incredibly destructive. It wastes a ton of energy, puts massive wear and tear on the components, and it's terrible at dehumidifying your home. It's a real system killer.
And speaking of waste, the amount of energy that can be lost is just staggering. In a lot of older homes, leaky ducts alone can account for losing 20 to 30% of the air you just paid to heat or cool. Think about that. That's like throwing a quarter of every single utility bill straight into your attic or crawl space. So, you've identified a problem, and that leads to the big, expensive question every homeowner dreads. Do I repair this thing again, or is it finally time to replace it? Well, there's actually a really simple rule of thumb that can help you decide.
It's called the $5,000 rule, and here's how it works. It's super easy. You take the age of your system in years, and you multiply it by the estimated costs of the repair. So, let's say you have a 12-year-old air conditioner, and the repair is going to be about $450. You just multiply 12 by 450, what do you get? $5,400. Because that number is over $5,000, this rule suggests that replacing the unit is probably the smarter financial move in the long run.
And that is the whole point of this rule. It's not a hard and fast law, but it's an amazing guide. It helps stop you from sinking good money into a piece of equipment that's already on its last legs, because you know it's just going to fail again and cost you even more down the road. It helps you avoid the money pit.
So whether you land on repair or replace, the final piece of this whole puzzle is making sure the work gets done right by a real professional. This is how you protect your investment.
And the single most important thing to know here is that guesswork is your absolute enemy. If a contractor comes over, just kind of eyeballs your house and says, yeah, you need a 3-ton unit, you're being set up for failure. A system that's too big or too small for your home will run inefficiently, it won't keep you comfortable, and it will wear itself out way too soon.
So how do you avoid the guesswork? You insist on this, a manual J-load calculation. Just remember that name. This is the official industry-standard formula that true pros use. It takes everything into account, your square footage, insulation, windows, your local climate, to figure out the exact size system your home actually needs. No guessing involved.
A true professional has other clear giveaways too. They will always pull the proper permits for a big job. That's your insurance policy that the work is done to code. They'll understand all the modern energy efficiency ratings, and maybe most importantly, they'll diagnose the root of the problem before they start working and explain all your options in plain English without trying to pressure you into a sale. This is basically your checklist for finding someone you can trust.
You know, the whole service process should feel clear and professional from start to finish. It really just boils down to 3 simple steps. First, you call and get a clear window for when they'll arrive. Second, the technician shows up, diagnoses the actual problem, and gives you an upfront price that you approve before they pick up a single tool. And finally, they do the work, and then they test the system to prove to you that it's working right. No surprises, no hidden fees, no confusion. Which really brings us to the final question you should ask yourself. Now that you know a little more, is your home's comfort system a reliable asset that's protecting your family? Or is it a ticking time bomb, a liability just waiting to happen? The good news is, now you have the tools to make sure it's the former.